Hi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to another Football Talks. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, hey!
Week 8 is in the books, and now we're on to Week 9. Sunday could have been the greatest sports day for Houston, for the city of Houston, because there were two great games, one with the Seahawks and another with LA. And tonight, by the time this podcast is up and running, you already know who won. But my hope is that the Astros win Game 6 because, Bill, I do not want a Game 7 because I'm gonna drop a fun fact on you. Eight of the last 10 teams who have been in the 3-2 situation as the two-win team have won Game 6, forced Game 7, and won said game. You want to know the last team I can mention that did that? The
Who?
St. Louis Cardinals against the Texas Rangers.
Uh,
One strike left, and
yep.
they didn't get it.
The one strike, for my money, still the best World Series game. But well, one of the top five.
I hate
But
it. I don't like speaking of that shit. But right now, go Astros, please beat the Dodgers, the hypocritical fan base who's like, I hate racists. As they call Jose Altuve a midget and a beaner. Okay,
uh,
guys, you're so progressive. Anyway, so let's move on to football because that's what this is about. So, let's talk about New England. There's a lot of news, not just games, but trust me, it's a bit of a doozy. So let's try to go through this one quick. The Patriots, they beat the Chargers, and everyone's like, "Oh, the Chargers could upset the Patriots. The Chargers defense looks good, and the offense is looking hot." Oh, come on, guys. You knew deep inside that it was going to be New England, and I know this is something to note. Deontay Hightower is out for the year, and
ooh,
you know that they're going to get fucked because they won't have him. But right now, the Chargers. When has Philip Rivers beaten Tom Brady? I don't even know if he has. I want to say he has, but
uh,
he couldn't beat him at any time in the playoffs.
I don't recall if he's beat him or not. Maybe once during the regular season, but that's about it that I can think of.
Maybe once during a preseason game. I don't know. Ha! But either way, New England just. I wouldn't say they delivered a thrashing because, to be fair, some of the reasons that the Chargers lost was their own problem. Because Bill, I think we found the dirt play of the year and that's coming from the same year that had the old homage to the Cowboys guy. I forget who it was who tried walking into the end zone and had the ball swatted away.
Oh, Leon Lett.
Yep.
Leon Lett.
Basically,
Yep.
we had the homage to that, and yet this might beat it. Travis Benjamin taking a punt return instead of just either calling it fair or dead, which he should have called it dead because it was going to go out of bounds if he didn't touch it. And yeah, he let it. He went into the end zone trying to outrun the Patriots, but come on, you're going backwards. They're going forward still, and they were running for a long time. So of course they're going to catch you, and it was a safety. How I haven't seen this shit since when the Titans player did that like a year or so ago, where
Right.
he got the ball in the one, then dropped it, but then ran after it and just dove all over it in the end zone after that. Which you don't do that because if you walk back into your end zone, you have to run out. But
Right.
no,
It,
we just saw same levels of derp, which fun for me. That was the fun play to watch because I needed to find something to find humorous this week. But
oh,
either way, the Chargers shot themselves in the foot. Their defense did what they could, but they couldn't deny Tom Brady with the win for too long. They tried. Their pass rush is good. Their run stopping ability is good. But at the end of the night, the Chargers could not outpace Tom Brady, and that was really the difference for this game.
right. One major setback, though, for the Patriots in that game was Chris Hogan left the game with a shoulder injury, and after the game, he was seen with a sling on his shoulder. So Chris Hogan, one of their best wide receivers, is maybe dealing with a dislocated shoulder
Yes,
on that
actually,
shoulder.
actually, there is a we can address that issue right now because good old Ian Rappaport, Rap Sheet, actually tweeted about it. He says that let me see if I have the tweet. Okay, here it is. Patriots wide receiver Chris Hogan does not need surgery for a shoulder injury, source said. Just rest and rehab. Out for a few weeks, but they will reevaluate it post-bye. So he's gonna miss time, but it's a good thing he has the. It's a good thing they have the bye week. It doesn't come at a better time.
Yep, it was a perfect timing for the bye week, and the good news is it doesn't sound ultra serious, but it's still something to definitely keep your eye on because Chris Hogan has been one of Tom Brady's security blankets this year, along with Amendola and Gronkowski.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I love the touchdown where Gronk was left alone.
There was a couple of those this week.
Yeah, but to me, at the end of the day, this is also the same team that made a really good run with Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon looks good, but that was perhaps the only bright spot in an otherwise bleak game for the Chargers. Even if it looks a little close on paper, you knew they never stood a chance to begin with.
I mean, overall, New England's defense has solidified. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt now that they're starting to gel together and they're starting to figure it out and they're starting to turn back into that Super Bowl favorite again. So that's the issue because Kansas City's defense is terrible. A lot of other defenses are not playing as well as they have been, like Denver, etc.
Yeah.
So New England's on the rise.
I need to see how they do against another playoff contender, though. We'll get that chance, though. We will get another shot at that, especially when they play the Steelers later this year. To me, that game's going to tell me, are the Patriots going to win the Super Bowl or not? Because if they can't beat the Steelers over there, I'm going to go with the Steelers as my Super Bowl pick, and rightfully so, because they still look good, which we're going to talk about them later. But, what, Bill?
They look all right. They just have an issue playing on the road.
Yeah, but that's why if you get home field advantage, that problem's gone.
Until you go to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. We'll see. But anyway, Bill, I don't have anything else to note about the Patriots game, but there is something I want to talk about. Something that happened last night. Now, the trade deadline's not over, so something could still come out by the time we're done with this, so we may not address it in case another big trade happens. But the first major trade we're going to bring up is Jimmy G. The era of Jimmy G in New England's already over before it could truly begin. He is now with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not sure if this is a blessing or a punishment for Jimmy G. It's like the football gods spited him. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's handsome. I'm not sure. But, I mean the true hell is Cleveland.
Right. I mean, he has a chance of starting some games for San Fran, and, he could legitimately get himself a good contract playing there, I mean, if he plays well and he starts winning games for the 49ers, he could get a long-term extension worth some decent money.
I'm really shocked that they did that. I'm really shocked that New England didn't haggle them for more picks. They just took a second rounder, which Cleveland was offering that and more apparently. But I'm not sure why they just took this. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Browns, I think you and I both agree that the 49ers have way better odds of winning a game before the Browns ever do.
Oh yeah, the Browns are where your career goes to die. So I mean, Jimmy G is in a much better place than going to Cleveland, and I mean, he overall, I think it was actually a better trade because they're sort of hedging their bets, and not only that, they can also sort of package. They know they're gonna get probably a top 3 pick out of the 49ers in the second round. And they know that they're most likely going to have a very late first rounder. So you can sort of get players that drop in the draft and have that sort of flexibility in that area.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, I thought they could have at least taken one of the picks that the 49ers got out of the Bears, that one of those third-round picks or one of the fifth-round picks. I thought they were gonna go for one of those.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting trade. We'll see who wins it because the Patriots draft really well.
Yeah, they're gonna need a quarterback though. They're gonna need to draft one now.
Oh yeah,
Wonder who that will be. Either way, I say it's good for Jimmy G because he gets to finally start and try to earn his money. But if the Patriots let him go, that's a red flag for me because I know you could say Tom Brady's gonna play forever, but even we all know that is unrealistic. That's hopeful. That's wishful thinking at best.
I would say if anything, he's got another 3-year window before his body totally starts breaking down.
I give it 2.
Yeah, I mean, I was giving him an extra year just to be a little bit more bullish on the amount of time. 2 years, 42-year-old quarterbacks, you really don't ever see them in the playoffs or winning football games. But look at players like Doug Flutie, who the Patriots have had in the past. He played into his mid-40s. He was a backup, though.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out whenever he starts. Actually, Bill, let's have a little over-under. I'm going to set the bar at 4 games. How many games will Jimmy G start for? Not win, but start.
Start over. He's starting every game after this.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5 games. No, wait, actually 7. I'm going to go 7.
Yeah, that's practically the rest of the season right there. So
yeah,
I just feel like they have nobody at quarterback. They have a rookie C.J. Breda or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
He's an instantaneous upgrade because he's actually won football games in the NFL.
Huh. I feel like this guy's like an unknown rookie or something. Either way.
He's an unknown nobody.
Yep. Either way, his career is probably going to be over as a starter because Jimmy G's going to take it next week. Anyway, let's move on to dem boys. The Dallas Cowboys played the Washington football team. Bill, I know you made this your upset of the week, but I probably should have warned you that the entire Washington line, offensive and defensive lines were ravaged against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was a bloodbath. To put it one way, it was like the end of a battlefield, and there were just dead bodies all over the floor because there were so many injured Washington and Philadelphia players. I'm not surprised that that Philadelphia even made some trades of their own because of what happened, which I'll mention that one later. But Washington did not look good at all this game. In what is Zeke's last game, most likely, because like we said, that suspension's back, and the first appeal he made did not work. It got immediately denied, so he can try again right now. But I mean, at the time of this recording, or accept the punishment and take the 6-game suspension. Which, Bill, do you remember what games those were that he's going to get suspended for?
Kansas City. A bunch of really good teams coming up.
I'll give it to you. So, Chiefs, or home to Chiefs, at Falcons, home to Eagles, home to Chargers. That's the Thanksgiving game. Home to Washington football team, and at New York. You will only have him for the Raiders game, or at Raiders. Home to Seahawks, and at Philly, which is probably going to be an SNF game. I guarantee it.
Unless Philadelphia at that point is like 14-1 or
yeah, but who knows? I think they want to do it because Cowboys, Eagles. You know how Al and Chris love the NFC East.
Well, but they're also going to go to the one that's not decided as well.
Okay, so you mean Green Bay and Detroit?
Yeah, it's gonna be the NFC North. I don't think Green Bay is in the playoffs at all.
Yeah,
they are not. They are going to be lucky if they're 6-10. If Aaron Rodgers is not back, they're 6-10. But
I'll give you one then. I got you one. Jags at Titans. Ha! I laugh at that, but it feels more realistic than I think.
I think it's very possible. To be fair, that could be a wild card battle right there.
Titans, Jags. Who would think that could possibly be a SNF finale? You know, what'd be the worst part? Imagine if they were in their color rush uniforms.
The Jags are the number one scoring defense in the NFL.
Yeah, but remember, their offense can also break apart at the drop of a hat because one week they're dominant and the other week they're like Cleveland Browns level of bad. Anyway, let's move back to Dallas, Bill, because the Cowboys, Zeke played one of his best games too today as well. At least kind of. Not as good as last week, in my opinion. The 49ers game was perhaps one of his best ones you'll ever see for now. But now he's gone. The Cowboys needed the win. They got the win. Good for them. But really, this might have been the time to start working out Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden because they're going to be needed. The question should be who will be depended upon more between the two, Bill. And to be honest, I don't know. At one week I think Alfred Morris, and another week I think McFadden.
I think with the Chiefs, you would have to probably think Darren McFadden. The Chiefs are terrible against the pass. And guess what? Darren McFadden brings to the table is pass catching abilities out of the backfield. So, I would say it's more of a matchup-based dependency right there because Cowboys are a run-first team. They're a pass-second team. They have Dez. Kansas City is not very good against the pass. But overall, even against Washington, you sort of see Washington sort of in the same boat. They're a little bit worse against the pass than they are against the run.
Yep. Actually, there was a cool play I want to mention, but the sad thing was this week, Dallas had the better defense in Texas. That's hard to believe. Look, think about it, Bill. Compared to Houston, which we're going to talk about later, Dallas looked like the better defense this week. They look like one of the better defenses because Kirk Cousins, that was an ugly game, by the way. It was rainy and nothing it was hard to hold the ball, basically.
Yeah, the whole East Coast was just there was a lot of really bad football games.
The Patriots were lucky to be up there, higher up, and they played earlier in the day because the rain didn't come until the afternoon, late in the afternoon.
Yep, exactly.
But
the whole East Coast was just a mess.
Either way, the cool play I want to mention, the blocked field goal that got picked up by Orlando Scandrick, the worst cornerback I've ever seen still. And he almost took it to the house. I feel like he staggered a bit, and I thought he could have actually ran it in all the way, but it got scored for a touchdown, I want to say. But
right.
For some reason, people thought this game was close when it was 14-13. To me, it's like, yeah, the Cowboys won. I know they're 1 point away. It's a 1 point differential, but just seeing how the Cowboys were staying on the field, the only thing I could have agreed with was that the play calling in the third quarter from the Cowboys was questionable. If you see the tape, you'll know what I mean. A lot of Cowboys fans, especially on Twitter, were agreeing and saying, "Why are they doing this? What's wrong with you? Are you giving the Washington football team a shot?" It's like they were trying to give the game away a bit, which I'm kind of surprised that they derped with that low that low of a score. I'd understand if you were like at the final score indicates, because trust me, the game was not as big of a wipe as the final score indicates, because the last play from Washington was actually a pick six.
Right.
And it was on a play where it was on the horrible attempt to try and get close to tying the game, which, I mean, yikes, it was bad. It was bad. Also,
right.
Dallas really needs help with the kicker situation, because I know it was an ugly game, but man, they are so going to miss Dan Bailey. In fact, they could use another bye week because there wasn't enough. He could
right.
be. I don't know when he's coming back, and the sad thing is, I'm gonna hate if the Cowboys lose a game because of a field goal that Dan Bailey could make that this other guy couldn't, or a PAT they couldn't make.
Right. I mean, Dan Bailey injury is a that's one of those injuries you don't really pay attention to, but that is a major,
The sad thing is,
major.
if that were Justin Tucker, the whole NFL world would actually implode. I know he's the best kicker. I mean, UT player, Bill. You know, UT players are pretty good. But
Yeah.
so that was just horrible. That was just horrible to see, and that game was sloppy. But either way, it was a good win by Dallas. But you know, going into this, it's gonna be hard for these Zekeless games for the next 6 weeks, assuming he
Yeah.
doesn't play, which I don't think he will. So, Bill, let's play another over/under. I'm gonna set the games at 3. How will they go? Win more than 3 or less than 3 for you?
Less than 3.
I'm gonna go straight to the middle. I'm gonna go at 3.
Oh, so
Although the
you're
Chargers game is a
pushing.
bit of a tricky one. I
I
think.
mean, the Chargers could legitimately come out and play amazing on offense, and Melvin Gordon torch that defense, or the Chargers could come out and lay an egg like they did against the
Oh, I
Patriots.
was gonna say their defense is gonna do the work for them. I feel like
Very
the Chargers
possible.
and the Cowboys defenses are very similar. Good pass
Yeah,
rushes now, but questionable secondary moves. Which, yeah,
yeah. The Cowboys just don't have one piece that the Chargers do, and the Chargers have Joey Bosa.
yeah. Well, the Cowboys have Demarcus Lawrence, and I mean Taco's been a non-factor. I'm like, where the hell is this guy? I like.
Oh
I
man.
mean, can't wait for tomorrow because free tacos. But yeah, Taco Charlton, man, they should have gotten they should have tried to go for somebody else because I mean I say T.J. Watt because Sean Lee is an injury factor. I'm pretty sure this is his last year, even though I think he's back.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw him now that I think about it, but
They need to get rid of him. I'm
they
sorry.
needed to draft T.J. Watt.
Yeah, they need a linebacker that they know that they can count on to at least play 10 games a season. Sean Lee legitimately cannot stay healthy.
Yep, and that's unfortunate. But anyway, Bill, let's move on. Let's move on to what everyone's going to call Game of the Year. It's Game of the Year, guys. Forget about Thursday Night Football with the Raiders and the Chiefs because that one doesn't hold a candle to this game. Because this game was all offense and it's the NFL media's wet dream come true. The Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson went to Seattle and actually were leading for most of the game. The problem was Deshaun Watson threw 3 interceptions. One was at the end of the game. The other two, the first one was a pick six. The second one led to a field goal, and that cost them 10 points. Meanwhile, while the Texans dominated on time of possession, the Seahawks proved my point how once again what I said with the Cowboys last year, time of possession don't mean shit if the other team's offense can score way quicker than you could.
Right.
If they could match what you did. All they would need their defense to do is make one stop, just one. Even if it's the only one in the game, if it's the one that doesn't let you get any points, it's all good because they can take that chance and win the game, and that's precisely what the Seahawks did and won 41-38. Bill,
Yep.
my ultimate question is who fucked up more? Who was more responsible? Deshaun Watson's mistakes that cost them 10 points, even if you take the field goal out of the precaution or out of the mix, that is a tie game minimum. You'd be having an overtime most likely. Or
Right.
is it the Texans defense, which I never thought I'd say this, the Texans secondary that really held the team down once again just like they did with New England.
To be fair, I think overall, I'm always a team win and a team loss. But overall, I would say if I had to pick one, it would be more the defense. And now, why is that compared to Deshaun Watson? Deshaun Watson, sure, he gave up a pick six, etc. But on defense, you have a whole unit that is built to stop the pass or stop the run. They could not stop giving up big plays to Seattle. They couldn't stop doing that. They were legitimately all the time either one, out of position, two, giving up giant plays that the defense is not designed for. Any defense is immediately designed to not give up big plays. So overall, it was a collective failure of the defense to play defense. And I would say 12 people having difficulty playing defense is a lot more of an issue than one guy throwing a interception for 6. I know it's a big momentum shift, him doing that, but he was also carrying the team on his back for most of the game as well.
Yep. I mean, the sad thing is, I really want a rematch because I felt like if this was at home, we'd be the winners. But
Yep.
I was going to say two things about what you said, Bill. The first, had the Seahawks lost, I can tell you the whole narrative right now. What would be the case? Why did Jimmy Graham? Why did I want to say it was Ricardo Lockett? I forget. There were at least 3 major first down plays that could have been made that ended up making them have to kick a field goal or just punt the ball. That were clear first downs because the Texans secondary could not get in any way to deny the catch. They just dropped the ball. There was one situation where Jimmy Graham, this guy would have been scolded if not for the end of the game, because he dropped an easy touchdown pass from Russell Wilson. It was bad by the offense for a while because those key plays, had they lost this game, the Seahawks pass catchers would have been in boiling water. I know you could make the case for the Legion of Boom just getting torched by a rookie. I mean, Deshaun Watson is no schmuck, and I think they know that. But to them, this was supposed to be easy fodder. I know they got the picks that mattered, so they didn't do the worst job. But regardless, DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller especially owned them. In fact, wait till I get to the fourth quarter when I talk about the 3rd and 4 call, because I mean, there's another person I didn't blame, but when you lose, it goes without saying the coach takes the blame. But
right.
Anyway, to Seattle's credit, they were able to overcome their mistakes. And the sad thing was the defense did make one interception, one that mattered and one that we capitalized on, which was good. But the problem was too much time passed. In fact, the Texans actually, Bill, you remember the old, you get a penalty while on offense under a 2-minute warning and you have no timeouts. What happens?
You get a runoff.
And that runoff came back to bite us in the ass.
Yep.
If I would have called a timeout for our sake, because I knew Seattle was going to score. At that point, I knew they were going to score. Because Kareem Jackson and Gilchrist were targeted so much by Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
I said that this might be the last year that this secondary would hold together and be efficient for the Texans. I also said that about the Legion of Boom. I still think that's coming. In fact, to me, this was the first cracks at it. If a rookie quarterback can do this shit to you, imagine what would happen if you had to play Aaron Rodgers again. I think he'd carve you up like a turkey.
I mean, and the other thing is the Seahawks Legion of Boom hasn't looked the same ever since Dan Quinn left and became the head coach of the Falcons. They just haven't been the same team defensively. They haven't had the same intensity, etc. It goes to show the value of having a great defensive coordinator or a great offensive coordinator. Because I have some issues with the next game we're going to talk about with a certain offensive coordinator.
Man, that's disappointing.
The overall, the Houston Texans are another victim of that. They don't have Wade Phillips anymore. Wade Phillips had that defense playing at a high level consistently.
But they fired him
They're not
along with Gary Kubiak, which was unfortunate because I mean, to me that was no fault their own. It was that 2-14 season was just every player on offense went down. Schaub went out, but then when he came back, it turns out he didn't just lose his body for a little bit. He didn't just injure his body. He also injured his ability to play the game forever. So in other words, career ending. But you had a situation where, I guess according to McNair, which also I do want to address what McNair said, but I want to wait till we finish talking about the game first. So yeah, I don't want to ignore that. I promised that I would talk about it. So in a minute, but I guess to him, because McNair gives coaches and GMs a long leash. When I say long, I mean he gives them the full tenure, barring an actual, Browns type of meltdown, which he hasn't seen that because this team plays way better than what it was worth when it didn't have a quarterback on the front. But now with Watson, they look interesting, but the problem is the defense. Bill, I never thought I'd be saying this all the time, but the defense is what's holding us back. We're in the Cowboys situation right now. And I've been bragging about how Houston's better than Dallas because we have a better defense. But Bill, this is what reminds me of what I want to make the distinction of. People say Houston's the best pass rushing defense. No, we are the best run stopping. If you don't believe me, just go watch what Jadeveon Clowney was doing. He owned every running back. This Seahawks team won with no run game, with a run game that averaged -1 yards.
Yep.
That shows me that the pass rush was more of a problem than the run defense. Because I want to make the distinction clear before you say anything, Bill. Because the Texans draft more run stoppers than they do pass rushers. Why? Because in their mind the belief was as long as we have Watt and we have Merciless, we're fine. In hindsight, that was not a good idea. Scouts weren't wrong when they said, yeah, you guys might want to consider drafting another defensive end to rush the quarterback for the future because J.J. Watt is now an injury risk, and looks like they were right.
Yep, I mean, the issue is that when you have no pass rush to give a quarterback an issue, your defense is going to get torn apart. And the other issue with this game with the Texans is that not only do you have a accurate quarterback that can throw out of the pocket, you have an accurate quarterback that runs around and can buy time where it breaks down your coverage. So legitimately, the Texans with those corners in this game was the perfect example of why the Texans defense was ill-equipped for this game.
People want to call this team a Super Bowl contender. Even if they won, I'd still tell you they're not a Super Bowl contender. Unless they can put 50 points a game, I don't believe into that. I don't buy into that. Why? Because this secondary is going to hold Deshaun Watson's potential hostage.
And one last point I want to make up about this game is you sort of saw a battle of the new prototype quarterback.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. That is the future of the NFL. Those style of quarterbacks are where the NFL is because they both play the game very similarly. They both know when to get down. They both know when to run. They both can kill teams with their running ability, but they are smart. Unlike Cam Newton, unlike RG3 before them, where they run, they get hit, they get injured. These two, they run, they slide, they stay healthy.
Yep. Although, I will say, this goes back to what I mentioned a couple weeks ago, but what you're saying, this is it. This is the meta change. To use a gaming term, the meta is how you play the game right now, and this is what they're doing. This is how quarterbacks are playing. You don't need the biggest arm in the world. You just need to be accurate, be it short to intermediate throws, take the long shot when the opportunity presents itself, and run with the ball if there is nobody open, because you can at least gain yards that way and possibly get a first down.
Yep.
But to me, the last thing I want to mention was that 3rd and 4 call when the Texans needed one more first down. You get that first down, you win the game. What does good old Billy O'Brien do? Run the ball. Also, speaking of, where the hell was D'Onta Foreman? Was it because he walked out of the game? Was it because he walked out of practice with Hopkins? Because I'm gonna mention that once this is over. But I noticed Foreman only got on the field once, and even when he didn't even get the ball. Everyone was on Twitter, #free D'Onta Foreman. And I was part of that. I agree with that, because Foreman, to me, I like him. I liked him coming out of the draft, and I really want him to get more reps. But I have a feeling because of what he did, he got in trouble for it. So they just gave the ball to Miller, who was actually playing a little hurt because he got horse-collared by Bobby Wagner, which, nice play by you, Bobby. And you're like, no, why do you throw a flag at me? You pulled the guy by his neck, you asshole. Sorry, Bill, but your friend Chicken, yeah, that was a dirty move by the 12th man. Well, not the 12th man, the bird man, I guess. But trust me, that was some conservative play calling. At least throw the ball, or at least just do a play action pass. See if somebody's open. In my opinion, you make Will Fuller. You tell him, okay, Will, I want you to get at the corner of the field and run as fast as you can. Why? You're going to take 2 players of the secondary with you. Hopkins will get the rest, and that'll either leave somebody open, or Watson just tucks it and runs with it. He could get 4 yards. 4 yards, that would be the longest 4 yards of his career so far, but he could probably get it, in my opinion. But no, Billy O'Brien's like, I'm just going to run the ball. I trust my offensive line, aka the worst offensive line in the division. Possibly the entire AFC, and possibly the whole NFL. I don't know. It's up for debate.
I mean, I'll just be brutally honest. That was a horrific play call. They really need to trust Deshaun Watson.
I'm just a schmuck, and I thought of a better play than what they did.
They could have bootlegged, Deshaun out and did anything. They could have done anything better than what they did right there.
I mean, even the screen pass might have worked, because the screen pass got DeAndre Hopkins his longest career touchdown.
Right. I mean, I don't get why you would run the football on a 3rd and 4 in that situation. It just makes
They
no
knew
sense.
it was coming. They saw it coming.
I mean, you're trying to maybe catch the other team off guard. Oh, they're running the football.
No, you're not fooling them. You're not fooling them. Also, one thing to note, seriously, how did Seattle get away with, in my opinion, many holding calls against Jadeveon Clowney? They did get caught for the chop block, which I'm like, good, because if you overlook that, refs. And these were the guys. The funny thing was, on TV, the commentators were saying, "Oh yeah, these are the best, some of the best refs in the NFL." They went to the Super Bowl last year. They've been to 3 Super Bowls, because that's how good they are. But they couldn't call many holding calls against Clowney and the rest of the Texans, as well as my personal favorite, the face mask that you saw in a close replay that pulled one of the Texans' helmets. They grabbed it from the side of his visor and then yanked it the other way. Tugging his neck sharply to an adjacent direction. Right. Okay, guys, that's not a face mask, but let me tell you, if you so much as get a pinky on Aaron Rodgers' face mask, that is a face mask call. You're ejected from the game, and you're going to get a fine of $25,000.
I don't want to even think about that.
Oh, trust me, Bill, it made me think of that.
It still makes me mad every fucking time I see that replay.
It makes every NFC team mad, because every NFC team wanted the Lions to win that game.
Sick and tired of that team is the biggest bunch of whiners for flags of all time.
I mean, they have the perfect leader in Jordy Nelson. I tripped from the guy that was 3 yards away from me. Throw a flag.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. Anyway, Bill, so now let's go to the elephant in the room. The Bob McNair situation. Houston was in a really weird spot this weekend because first there was the thing with Yuri Gurriel with his racist remarks, and I'll tell you right now, I didn't approve of that. I thought he should have got suspended for a game, just one game. It would have been game 4. We lost that game anyway, so at the end of the day, you couldn't have said it mattered. We lost that game anyway. He would have appealed it though, so because he would have appealed it and it would have lasted the whole way through. So to me, even if you suspended him one game, that would have been that. But anyway, that wasn't the worst part, because then you had the stupid shit Bob McNair said, saying that you can't let inmates run the prison. And I'm just like, I woke up to this, by the way, and I'm hearing people talk about the Texans, like, what happened? Was there like a big trade? Did someone get hurt? No. Good old Bobby McNair had to show his good old Southern conservatism, or Texas-style conservatism, I should say. Texas and the South conservatism are distinctly different, kind of like Texans and Southern accents. If you've seen both types, you know the difference. If not, they all sound the same to you. Anyway, now people are saying Bob McNair is the worst owner in history for this, and I'm thinking, you could debate that all you want, but did you guys forget what Jerry Jones was acting like, saying, "Oh, this anthem protest is against the military, and how it is dividing the nation apart. It is ruining our great country." Where's the shit on Jerry Jones? Oh wait, you love them boys. You love the Cowboys because they make you a lot of money.
I mean, here's the issue, and it was an idiotic saying. It's an old cliche, and I know what it means. You don't want your employees telling you what to do.
Yeah, the better way you could say, you don't want employees running, acting like managers.
Right, exactly. And then people wouldn't have had an issue with it. The issue with that saying and the way it was used is police brutality, and you're using a prison metaphor. Now,
something that all minorities get incarcerated for the most.
Now, let me just use my critical thinking cap right now. My players are protesting police brutality, so I'm going to use a prison metaphor to describe my players. Something doesn't compute here?
The math doesn't add up.
Are we legitimately stupid or something? And then you're wondering why your players are upset with you? Give me a goddamn fucking break.
Everyone in that...
Give me a break.
All but 10 players kneeled, and the ones that didn't kneel were white, so... I'm not going to single them out for this situation because I do not want to divide racial boundaries even more. Because I don't like the idea of people being racist and saying, "Oh, I hate racism. I don't like how black people are treated." Okay, that's fair. But then you go around and say, "Yeah, fuck white people. I hope they all die." Yeah, you're totally not a racist. And this is coming from someone could say, "Oh, Josh, you're just some white cis scum." No, I'm Hispanic, and if I'm seeing problems with if I'm seeing problems with your shit, you know you fucked up. But okay, go ahead, call me a white sympathizer or whatever. I don't care what you think of me. I just know you're wrong. I just think that argument is so full of shit. It's embarrassing.
This idea that you use a prison metaphor to describe your players while they're protesting police brutality is unbelievably dumb. It is beyond.
It shows you how not just with him, but think about it. How most of these owners, especially I would say since the majority are white. I know this sounds like I'm being a hypocrite, but just think about it. The higher you are in the social hierarchy, or in this case financial, the more you are likely unable to interact with the lower. When I say lower, I don't mean like intellectual or anything. I just mean lower on the social hierarchy. We are the common man. People don't want to admit it. They're like, "Oh, I'm not your average person." But let's be real for a minute. We are the average working man. These guys, most of them have never had to do that.
Yeah.
Like
The,
the most
it,
relatable rich person you're gonna find are people who come out of the woodwork, like work in their garage and build their way, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. People like them who
Steve
just
Jobs.
like they are the few people because they started poor, started with nothing, and now they built an empire. They are the few who can
And
sympathize.
Jay-Z, Mark Cuban, those style of people that have been on the streets, that know what it's like. They know the exact. See, there's a lot of the owners nowadays. Oh, why are our players protesting? Why is this? You know, not everything's hunky dory in the world. You know, use your platform to do some good in the world. Don't use your platform and just be like, I'm going to make some money. I'm going to bury it in my casket with me. I'm going to make a mummy out of fucking cash and wrap myself on it just because I want to take it with me in my afterlife. I hope they stuff my goddamn body full of dollar bills. You know, that's the sort of shit that the rich people are doing nowadays. And it's unbelievably stupid.
Yeah, and like I say, I am not justifying anything he said. I don't want people to think that
No,
because if you don't believe me, just go look at my Twitter for the day when that shit happened, which I think was Thursday or Friday. I don't remember what day, but anyway, that shit happened. I was just, no, why did you have to say some stupid shit like this? Am I surprised? To quote Dwayne Brown, which we're going to get to him next, he wasn't surprised. I'm not surprised. My favorite response out of all these was Tristan Dickout, a rookie for the Texans. He says, I am not surprised if other owners may think similar lines like this, because, to be honest, I'm not either. I wouldn't be surprised. I know Jerry Jones has a
oh yeah,
similar mindset of thinking this. And I can't speak for the rest of the owners, but something tells me if another one of them had a similar mindset, I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised either.
But think of it like this: is Bob McNair is one rich, but he's two a smart businessman. You know the way to rile people up to support your team, especially a certain segment of the population that has been protesting your game, is to echo those thoughts. And oh, well, now we gotta go buy Texans gear because this crazy person is saying this. It's unbelievably stupid. It has no place in the game, and
It has no
legit
place in society.
Bob McNair should just shut up and let his team play the game.
Yeah, I say, well, in this case, I say I'm not, like I said, I'm not surprised that he thinks this, but however, to me, this makes me realize, because at the end of the day, I'm not just blaming McNair. It sounds like I'm avoiding it, but no, I give him as much blame, but I feel like this whole shit started even more because of Jerry Jones, too.
Well,
And people are completely forgetting about it. But remember, this was the same guy, like I said, was saying that this protest is apparently going to make America go to hell.
what
Not like,
one
oh, we're all going to hell, like go to hell, go to hell. Like I mean, the state of of America will be shit because of the protests. Just to
one
clarify.
one
And yet,
and one last thing I want to say as well is that not for Tom McNair or Bob McNair to shut up. What I would like him to say his cliche in a different way. That gets the point across in a better way than the cliche that he used.
the way we said
Not
it
to shut
sounded
up, but
50 times better. No, 500 times better than what he said. Like
exactly.
don't let
Say it in
employees
a
run
different
the business.
way, and then none of this would have ever
Yeah,
happened. Don't
like
shut up. Just say stuff in a better, more thought and more basically what that thing is doing is saying, yeah, I acknowledge that the players have their point of opinion, and my point of opinion is this, and there's no contention there because then it's not legitimately uh, you're not headbutting because of the issue that they're protesting.
Yep. Either way, I'm just thinking people like Jerry and McNair are just idiots saying stupid stuff like this when they shouldn't. Because to me, I know that whole I just said that example of employees, like, don't let employees run the business, but these players do run the business. They don't want to admit, the owners and Goodell don't want to admit it, but they run this business every much as the owners do. But anyway,
If all the player, my final thought is, if all the players left the game, and then the NFL's ratings would collapse.
oh yeah. Anyway, let's move to the trade. So, yesterday, day after this game, a major trade was announced. I woke up to this too. So, the Texans have traded Dwayne Brown to the Seahawks. Somebody better pick up that phone because I fucking called it. But we got a lot more out of it. The Texans got Jeremy Lane, this year's 5th round pick, and next year's 2nd round pick. To me, that's a lot more than I could ever ask for. I just thought, I was talking to your friend Chicken Bill, and I told him, I only think we're going to get a 4th rounder at best. But I guess that game was enough to show. Dwayne only showed up because according to Rap Sheet, this was months in discussion. So my guess was they told Dwayne this, like, hey, you might want to come back and play this game, so at the very least you get to see, like, the Seahawks can see if they want to trade for you or not. There were also reports of Philly getting in on this, especially after what happened to Jason Peters, that they needed new offensive line help. But it seems that Philly decided to go after somebody else, which was Jay Ajayi, which now Philly looks unstoppable. But to me, the regular season don't mean shit for them, because I expect them to break Philadelphia's hearts in the playoffs.
Right.
But anyway, so Bill, thoughts on the Dwayne Brown trade? What do you think?
I think it was smart. I think it was a very smart trade for Seattle. They needed help really badly.
Did you see what Clowney did to their left tackle, the guy that had the number 76?
Yeah.
He owned him so hard that he should just give up that number and give it to Dwayne, because he is the best 76 you're going to see on the field all day, every day. But
right.
My favorite thing, too, was actually on that same drive, I believe. He just went right past that guy, and that guy tried to chop block him. This was before he actually got away with, or got caught doing it. But Clowney's just so fast, he moved away from him while he was trying to chop block him, and went straight for Thomas Rawls. And just my favorite taunt was the whole over Thomas Rawls' body, just make the boom, the explosion effect with your arms. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Clowney's the best run stopper in the game right now, and I love it. He's not even a defensive tackle, too. That's their job.
Yep.
But anyway, Bill, to me, other games of note before we get to the picks. Oh, wait, there's one more game. We have the Lions game. I forgot about them because this game was forgettable in my opinion, Bill.
Well, it was a good defensive game by the Lions. The Lions gave up a couple big plays, but overall, the Lions defense showed up. They played really well.
Glover Quinn's my defensive player of the year, man. I don't care.
Glover Quinn, Ben Roethlisberger was having a terrible game, like he normally does on the road. The Lions fans were in it, and I have 3 major issues with this game. And I'll just go through them really fast. Not really fast.
Actually, Bill, how many field goals did they get?
5? I don't even know. 5?
All right, Bill, let's see. What would have happened if they scored at least how many of them were out of goal situations?
God knows. Probably at least 3.
All right, so let's see. 7 times.
That's 21.
So they would have had 21 of those, plus the other 2 field goals, 27. This would have been 27-20.
Yeah. Overall, I have a few issues, and one is goal in the goal-to-go situations. Jim Bob Cooter play calling. Now, the play calling from Jim Bob Cooter has been all right. We're trying to establish a run. I'm cool with that. He's just not calling the game to where we're putting people in a position to succeed. We're calling plays kind of dumb, kind of stupid, and a little too conservative. Now number two, one of the reasons why they have to be conservative in that end zone is my good friend Eric Ebron, and by good friend I mean he is the worst draft pick we've had in 15 years. In the first round,
even above the quarterbacks.
He legitimately, Eric Ebron is a legitimate useless draft pick. He should be benched. Overall he is getting booed in the city of Detroit every time he even is anywhere near the football. He gets booed in Detroit. His hands are butter. He cannot catch anything. The draft night, I'll never forget it. Because they said, "Oh, well, Eric Ebron has great hands." Where is these great hands that he has? He doesn't have great hands. If you want to count having, ice cubes for hands, good, then that's perfectly fine. Eric Ebron needs to go. He doesn't need to start another game in a Detroit Lions jersey ever again, because legitimately he is not good at the position. He shouldn't even be playing.
The sad thing is, this was the one game you wanted him to be good in, because you know why? Trade potential. Now he has none.
Exactly.
Because the thing was, going into this week, before Thursday night happened, Eric Ebron was an actual piece that the Ravens were considering as a long-term solution. I don't know what they were going to give up for him, but I do know they considered him. But after this game, I don't even think they want to get him anymore.
I mean, Eric Ebron legitimately can. When the fans in Detroit boo you, it's time to go, because we have patience, but we don't have a lot of patience, and especially when you're not putting in the work. He is not getting better. He goes, "Oh, I'm going to make the Pro Bowl this year," to local. Well, catching the football might help, to go to the Pro Bowl, not have stuff hit your chest. And number three is that my overall takeaway from the game is that the Lions defense is back to where it was, minus a couple big plays, and legit, Golden Tate should not be out there and playing. He is.
I'm like, where's Kenny Golladay? I thought he was healthy. The players were saying, "Oh, he should play," and then turns out they're wrong. So, like, who the hell can I trust at this point?
Bring back Jace Billingsley. Jace Billingsley would be a great slot option.
You know who they could go back and get for, Bill? I know this is going to sound crazy. Get Anquan Boldin.
He's retired.
Oh, no, you don't know? He's actually considering trading options. They said, if you can get me traded, I'll take it.
Right.
I say trade him back to Detroit. I mean, Bill, I liked Anquan with the Lions. I thought there was something special there, but they don't want to do it.
I did too. Anquan was one of my favorite players. He has great hands. He can catch the football.
How about we convert him into a tight end?
Jace Billings. We have a tight end in David Fells. I don't.
Oh no, he hurt himself this week. He hurt himself in that game, so I don't know if he's going to play.
Ebron needs to go. I don't even care if we don't have a tight end on the field at all.
Maybe, hey Bill, maybe you could trade.
I don't want Ebron.
Maybe you could trade for Jimmy Graham, because the Seahawks apparently want him out.
We could package Greg Robinson and Eric Ebron for Jimmy Graham. They get a shitty tight end and a shitty offensive line.
You probably get to give him a pick too.
I mean, I'd be good with a 4th round pick.
I'd give him a 4th round.
Jimmy Graham's only worth that because he's not been used
I think
effectively.
he's just not good in their scheme. Maybe with the Lions scheme he'd be better. He's a bigger boy. He's like, he's
But
got the Travis Kelsey body type.
yeah, overall though, I'll just be brutally honest. That was a game the Lions could have won, and they lost it because of those three factors. Ben Roethlisberger played like
Let's
shit.
not forget, Bill, that defense from the Steelers, bend but don't break. In this case, they gave field goals, but they never gave a touchdown because if they gave up just one, they would have lost the game. So to me,
Yeah, well,
I give credit to their defense a lot because they
well,
they they stopped the Lions from getting into the end zone. I know some of the time you could say that was the Lions' own fault, but you got to give credit to the Steelers' defense. They're playing pretty good. Not
it doesn't.
not Denver tier,
Uh,
but still good, reliable.
they they were decent. They weren't great,
I say
and that
they're
was on
reliable,
both
and that's all
sides
that
of the ball.
matters.
And one last thing, Darius Slay and that defense shut down both Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell.
Yep, but good old Juju, my
Yep.
favorite player to watch. I like him, Bill. I like him a lot. I think he's a fun guy.
Yeah, Juju Schuster-Smith went crazy in that game, and that's the reason why we lost.
Yeah, remember, all it takes one big play. One big
Yep.
play. And what do? They go to the guy who Darius and Glover were not covering. They
Yep.
and kudos to them. But anyway, Bill, the only game I want to make a real note of, I guess, because this week was most
Yeah.
was really the Dolphins Ravens. The Ravens shut them out. We got wrecked this week by that. I
Yeah.
should have stuck with the Ravens, but the
I,
Dolphins struck back. They did something. I don't know how. I haven't even heard if Kiko Alonso got fined or suspended, but he knocked Joe Flacco unconscious for a few seconds. He hit him when he was sliding, and some would say, "Oh, but Josh, he didn't have enough time to react, so it's not his fault." No, I've seen players with less space move out of the way.
yeah. That was a legitimate dirty hit, and I'm gonna bring this up. One last thing I want to say about that. Thank you for bringing this game up. Is when are we going to label the Miami Dolphins as a dirty team?
I've been
They have
calling them
Ndamukong
that I don't want to.
Suh.
I don't know what to call them. What do you call them? They're not like it doesn't. I can't think of a term that sounds as good as like the Dirty Birds. You remember the Dirty Birds when they went to get owned by John Elway that year?
They're
That's
the dirty Dolphins. They are legitimately the dirtiest team. Where is this labeling by the NFL media when Detroit had Ndamukong Suh and had quote unquote a dirty defense that was throwing people around and knocking people out and stepping on people? We got labeled as a dirty ass team and a dirty city. But where is it for Miami? Where is it for Miami? Oh, it's South Beach. Oh, look at all the beautiful beaches and shit. Give me a goddamn break. The Miami Dolphins are a dirty team. They are a dirty organization right now,
here's the
and
sad.
they should be labeled as
Here's
such.
the sad thing. Marshawn Lynch touches a ref, suspended a game. Kiko Alonso
Exactly.
knocks a guy out into next week, possibly longer. Ah, no, he didn't do anything wrong. No suspension. There is
Exactly.
no
I
suspension on this guy. To me, I thought, look, to me, if Vontez Burfict did that, they would send that guy out of the league. No, and actually, no, he wouldn't do that. They suspend him for 5 more games, and then he'll appeal it and get it reduced to 3.
I'm just gonna be brutally honest. Oakland Raiders have the exact same issue as we do.
The
We get
stigma.
labeled, but it because it's the city of Detroit. And always labeled as we're
Bill, you got
trash,
cut
we're
out there.
this,
Can you
we're
start
that.
over?
Okay. Uh, just because it's the city of Detroit, we always get labeled as trash, etc. Just like the Oakland Raiders, because of their team history, they're labeled as this. It's the city of Detroit, and we get labeled as that because it's a national thing constantly. The Miami Dolphins are a dirty,
Did
dirty
everyone
team
forget
and
about the
should
whole
be.
thing with when that guy Richie Incognito, who plays with the Bills now, he was like a bully towards a black player.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean
I guess that doesn't
the
count in anything.
Miami the Miami Dolphins organization is a dirty organization and has been like that for 10
I
years.
mean, their offensive
And
line
when are
coach
we
did
going to
cocaine
do that?
in his office.
Exactly. I mean, it's legitimately, when are we going to label the Dolphins organization
Oh,
dirty?
I'm ahead of you, man.
They're dirty.
Dirty Fins, I guess. That's as close as I can get, and that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound as good as Dirty Bird. I'll think
The
of a term.
fish,
I'll find a term.
the fishy fins.
Ah, it doesn't come make that message clear. But anyway, Bill, are you ready for the picks?
Indeed. Here we go. The Thursday game, the Buffalo Bills at the New York.
I'm changing my pick. I'm going Buffalo. I'm on the Buffalo bandwagon for a little bit. See where it takes me.
I'm also going Buffalo. They're a legit team this year, and they have a shot at making the playoffs.
They're
Good
this
for
year's
them.
2015 Jets. I'm just waiting for that disappointment to come in.
Next up, the Sunday games, the 1 o'clock games, the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans.
Okay, this one, if you had Andrew Luck, you'd have an even better shootout than what happened last week, but no. This is going to be I'm going to call a 35 burger on the Colts. The Colts are going to get moited.
Yeah, Will Fuller is going to have like 3 touchdowns in this game. I got Houston as well.
Actually, one thing to note, once the offseason comes around, the Texans are going to need a new secondary piece. And rumor has it Vontae Davis is possibly not going anywhere. Watch as I say this, an hour later, it's going to be confirmed he got traded to like the 49ers or something. But I hope not. If not, let's take Vontae Davis because someone needs to replace Kareem Jackson because he is not the same guy.
Right. All right, next up, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Alright, so unless the Jags got owned in the bye week, which I don't know if that's possible, they should lose to the Bengals. I'm going to go with Jacksonville, but I am expecting to be disappointed this week.
I also got Jacksonville. They have the number 1 scoring defense, and they're playing a quarterback that throws interceptions at a high rate. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints.
Saints should get right here. They're going to destroy Jameis Winston, but who knows? Jameis Winston typically does well in this stadium, but I'm going to go with New Orleans.
And I also have New Orleans. They're going to throw the football over the team. Next up, the LA Rams at the New York Giants.
Well, both these teams coming off a bye. This is a rematch of that London game, but it's not going to be the same because the Eli Manning's going to be swallowed up by Aaron Donald, and Todd Gurley is going to rush for over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm going LA Rams.
I got the Rams too. They're a whole different team this year without Jeff Fisher at the helm. They're a way better team.
See what happens when you purge mediocrity?
Yep. Next up, the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers.
I'm going to go with Carolina. I still hate Cam Newton, but he's going to be riding high, acting like he's an airplane as he soars over the Atlanta Falcons.
I got the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're just a little bit better team than Carolina. They're both struggling on both sides of the ball, so I'm just going to go with Julio because it's Julio. Next up, it is the Denver Broncos at the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think this is a sneaky game of the week because this is going to be Philly's best test on offense. This is one of the best defenses they're going to play this year, and it should be a good one. I'm going to go Philly. I think their defense is going to win them the game, though, not the offense.
I think I think Philadelphia's going to win. They're going to run the football pretty effectively.
With their new toy, Jay Ajayi.
Yep, and then they're done just play action pass the Broncos to death. I got Philadelphia. Next up, the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans.
Well, I don't think Joe Flacco's going to make it to this game, so I'm going to go with the Titans. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans get owned this week.
And I've got the Baltimore Ravens going into Nashville and beating the Titans. You know, the Titans have been really off this year, and, you know, the Ravens, every time I pick against them, they always prove me wrong. So
yeah, but remember when we picked them, they also prove us wrong.
Exactly. Hopefully they'll prove me right.
If Joe Flacco's starting, I'm switching my pick to Baltimore. I just think that will make the difference if he's there or not. Because do you trust Ryan Mallett?
I mean, you know,
you kind of at this point you kind of have to, Bill.
Well, I'm still picking Baltimore, but you know, I think they just have a little bit more right now. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm going San Fran. They're going to get their first win. I don't know if it's because good old Jimmy G will appear, but I think this is the game they get that win.
I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to win. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game and close, but I got Arizona.
There's going to be a lot more women at this game, though, because good old Jimmy G.
Oh, man. Next up, the Washington football team at the Seattle Seahawks.
Gonna go at the Legion of Boom here. I think they're gonna own them. Actually, I found an old video of a Washington player punching Richard Sherman after the game. I wonder if that guy is still there, because I expect Richard Sherman to get a pick 6 this week.
I also got Seattle. They're playing a more wounded Washington team. They don't have Jordan Reed, so you know, true. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh boy, no Zeke, it doesn't matter. I wasn't going to pick them either way. The Chiefs are going to stomp the Dallas Cowboys this week.
The Chiefs' offense is scary against that defense. I got Kansas City. Next up, the Sunday night game, the Oakland Raiders at the Dirty Dolphins.
Well, I thought the highlighted player for the Dolphins this week was going to be Jay Ajayi, but I guess you got to go with Ndamukong Suh. I'm going to go with the Raiders, I think, because just for the sole reason they have a quarterback.
I got to go Oakland. You know, Miami can't score points, and that's been a running theme the entire year. And then the Monday night game, the Detroit Lions at the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers.
Yeah, we don't have upsets of the weeks because not many of these are upset worthy. I'm going to go with Detroit. This would have been an upset of the week had we had Aaron Rodgers, but no Aaron Rodgers. I just don't see how they're going to come out of this.
Yeah, I got Detroit. This should be a perfect opportunity to play a terrible defense.
All right, Bill, next week's Thursday night game.
The Thursday night game is the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, man, this could have been a good game, but no Carson Palmer. The Legion of Boom's going to have fun with Drew Stanton. Maybe they should have traded for Jimmy G instead.
Possible.
I mean, he owned them in that Week 1 opener.
Yep. But I've got Seattle.
All right, then. I think that'll do it for this week. Do you have anything else you want to add, Bill?
Nothing much.
Yeah, the only thing I'll mention is I forgot to say, Zach Cunningham, why can't you cover tight ends? You made Jimmy Graham's bad day look like he was the best player on the field. Because to me, Bill, who's the deadliest receiver in NFL history? The one that's wide open.
Right.
But anyway, that'll do it for this week. We'll see you guys for Week 10. We're heading into the double digits. The final stretch is coming sooner than you think.